I have a message. So, this is a very karmic time that we're living in, okay? And it's a very interesting time to be in the spiritual community in particular because there is a desire to come together and to kind of merge practices and to, save the world from destruction, right? I've seen rhetoric around this anyway. But the reality is that what's happening, if you're in the United States like I am, is very karmic. This nation, as many of you know, was founded on brutality and harm and sexism and racism. And it was unlikely that the way that this country was set up to function would be sustainable long term. And most major empires in general, especially those that function without really caring for humanity, don't really last more than 250 years, historically speaking. Um, with that being said, there's also a lot of communities within this country with varying different backgrounds and varying different histories. And some of our practices, like some of the practices that I partake in, for example, a big part of those practices are connecting with and venerating our ancestors. And to come together would require us to actually all fully acknowledge the real life experiences, the traumas, the horrors that a lot of our ancestors went through. We don't all have the same background or experiences, and this is not to come from a hierarchical, like a hierarchy perspective, but I do sometimes see in the community there's a lot of bypassing and there's a lot of love and light, and we're all humans and we're all the same, but we are ultimately here to have a human experience. So while I might agree with that on a soul level, what our lived experiences are and what the experiences of our ancestors have been vary drastically by different communities. And when we talk about bringing and merging our practices together, we have to acknowledge it that some communities have, for centuries, just taken, and taken from other communities. And when it comes to these very sacred practices, there is, understandably so, a desire to keep those practices sacred, to maintain the honor and integrity and the tradition behind them, and to also respect the ancestors, many of whom were harmed by some of those same systems and communities. Okay, so